Okay, well, how's everybody doing this evening? I want to welcome you to Soup and Stations. I don't have my soup with me tonight, though, unfortunately. I don't think I've had soup anytime I've done this, but I hope you do. Have your soup and you're ready for our chat tonight. Tonight, I would like to welcome a wonderful parishioner of ours. They've all been wonderful parishioners, but um, another very committed, very dedicated person in our parish that I wanted to speak with, and her name is Leslie Garcia. And so Leslie is here with us tonight, and we'll just give Leslie a moment to turn on her screen and join us. And I hear her there. There she is.
Hi, Father Mario.
How you doing, Leslie?
Good.
What do the kids in school call you?
Miss Garcia.
Miss G?
Yeah.
Do they call you Miss G?
No. No. They're kinders. They're 5 years old.
Yeah.
Sometimes they forget my name, Miss Teacher. I get Mom a lot. You know, they're 5. Mom, Mommy.
You get called Mom.
Yeah.
I just saw something. It was a meme, but it was like making fun of like a teenager who would accidentally call his teacher mom, like in high school. And I was thinking, did I ever do that once? Accidentally call a teacher in high school mom? But for a 5-year-old, that's okay. That's so funny. Well, kind of has to do with what we're going to talk about tonight.
That's right.
You are a mom. You have that maternal presence about you, and that's something that you bring to our parish, and we cherish. And so, a little bit of background about what we've been doing. If anybody's joining us for the first time for our Soup and Stations talks, we've been preparing ourselves to pray the Stations of the Cross by first having a chat about how the cross manifests itself in our own lives. So in the church's wisdom, when she has given us the Stations of the Cross to pray, they're not just, for us to just, rattle off these prayers and do it as some kind of empty devotion, but to really, walk that way with Jesus and for us to unite ourselves to him. He's the one who said, if you want to be a disciple, you have to take up your cross and follow me. And so the church reminds us by praying the Stations that, we all have a cross to bear. So we've been looking at that for our guests the first week. I just shared very briefly my own journey of walking with a man who was a paraplegic and serving him. And how I came to see through this man's struggle, he was really blessing me. He really graced my life, and I learned so much from him, and was a glimpse into why God allows suffering, because sometimes through the suffering of others, other people who encounter them are transformed and changed. God uses other people's suffering to bring about good. So we just have to kind of have the spiritual vision to see that. I saw that in him. It took a few years after to realize it, how he had changed my life. And then spoke with Jenny Dow and her son about her son Tyler and their struggle with autism, the cross of autism. And then Father Sunil shared his journey, his cross of ministering in South Sudan, in a war-torn, impoverished country. But he's so joyful there. He's actually, when we talk about it, it's almost like he's eager to return. He loves it here, but he really feels at home there. And then Franklin McKinney shared his journey with cancer. And last week it was Noriko and Ernie Marr talking about, letting go of their plans for their daughter Claire, who well, as she discerned her vocation to religious life and the cross of giving a child back to God. And so we're going to talk about another vocation today, and the vocation of married life, and the forms that takes, and the challenges that bears for us. And married life is hard, and it doesn't always, it's not always the fairy tale that we imagine it to be. Same with priesthood. So there's a lot of bumps in the road. And if there are those bumps, we just lean on Christ. So thank you for being here, Leslie, to share your journey of that vocation and the bumps and the bruises. And so, yeah, as I said, there's much to learn from your story, and a lot of guidance and grace that you will share with us tonight. So just tell us a little bit about you and who you are, and just kind of what your involvement in how you came to be a parishioner at St. Joe's, and what you do now.
Well, my daughter and I have been parishioners for 20 years. And how I chose St. Joe's, I was already divorced then, and she was 4. And St. Joe's was the only church between St. Philip's and St. Barnabas that had a preschool faith formation.
Whoa.
And I said, that's where we're going to be. The other, you go to faith formation, catechism, 4 years old. Yeah. And the funny thing about that is when I registered her, I was just happening to talk to Dee Mooney, who was the director right before Anne Marie. She goes, oh, do you know anything about teaching? Because I need a preschool teacher. So not only did I register my daughter, I became involved right away. Our first year at St. Joe's, because I was invited to get involved.
Yeah.
So that's how we chose St. Joe's. And my ministry's just, helping with funeral services. Been working with confirmation teens for several years now. That really has been giving me the gift of hope to see our teens. And I also started doing ushering.
Yeah.
I think all these, the pandemic had provided me more time because I'm a workaholic. I used to stay at work till 7 p.m. and my life just revolved around work and coming home and work and coming home. So.
Yeah. So you mentioned your daughter. What's her name?
Joanna. She's 24. She lives down south now.
Yeah. And she's an actress.
She wants me. She has a manager now. she likes acting. Wow.
Yeah. So you and her came to St. Joe's. So are you from the Bay?
Yes. We lived in Berkeley for 4 years. Been in Alameda since 1974. And I attended St. Philip Neri, and then I went on to St. Joe's High School. My daughter and I both graduated from St. Joe's High School.
Oh, wow. Keeping it in the family. Good. So we're going to try to make that delicate transition now. You were talking about you and your daughter coming to St. Joe's, just the two of you. So can you give us a little bit of a glimpse into that aspect of your life?
Just the two of us?
Yeah.
I never thought I'd be a single mom. That just never crossed my mind. And my divorce, actually, my ex-husband left us. So there was a total abandonment. And I remember feeling, well, now what? I had no friends at that time. My circle of friends were all married or single because they hadn't married. And nobody was divorced. So I had no role models of what this single mom, single parent looked like. And I remember making a decision soon after. I said, I need to be the best I can be. But first of all, I need to make her my priority. And I meant, to me, that was no dating, no, nothing. It was just going to be Joanna because she was 4 years old. I needed to help guide her and I was alone. Yeah. That's what I was thinking. How do you do this alone? Yeah. So actually, we started school at St. Joe's. So I had that support from my church community because we started going to church there. And then because that was our school, we saw similar people at church and then also at the school, and we became friends with families. So that was really big. Play dates, and then as you become involved in school, like sports, dramas, parties, all those, we got to know more people. But I think because our support system was our church and our support system was our school, that really made it easy for me. because it was all there. We saw the same people at church and, would wave. And there's that connectedness. So my daughter didn't experience, oh, this is one group here and this is another group here. And I remember one thing St. Joe's had for the Mario that I still have the picture of. Joanna goes, there was a Rainbows program. If I think the name was Rainbows, I'm not sure.
Mhm.
They found out that she was a child of a single parent, and anybody single parent, either through death or adoption or whatever it may be, you had only one parent. They were forming small groups, and she was in a group of four. And she told me she came home one day. They met once a week with Mrs. Cunningham. Dee Dee Cunningham was her leader, and she said, "Mommy, guess what? So and so is divorced, just like us."
Mm.
I'm like, "Oh my God, what? I wonder what she was thinking in her head." But it made her happy to, I guess, in her little mind. Then it's not just me,
Mm-hmm.
whose dad left, or so we had that foundation
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah. That was called the Rainbows.
I think so. It could be a different name, but I thought I saw rainbows because she kept drawing rainbows around her picture.
Yeah. Let's see.
I don't know how long. It was totally run volunteer, so I don't know if they still have it.
Yeah. Well, it seems like a ministry that might be a good one to bring back, because, like you say, there are a lot of people who don't experience that, that traditional family, that the family has kind of broken down for whatever reason. And the statistic is, or even for Catholics, is about 50%
Right.
of marriages. Yeah. So yeah, we have a lot of ministering to do. I think one of the things you said that stood out to me, and it's kind of been a common thread that I've heard people say, is, I never thought that it would be this way. Right. And definitely with Noriko and Ernie last week, right? You never thought it would be this way. What were your plans for your life? How did you think your life was going to go?
I like ministry a lot. I did some service work, so I knew that serving in the church was my number one. God had put that love in me. It wasn't I sought it because it was something that gave me life. Really didn't think I'd be married. I had myself felt a call to religious life, but my parents were very controlling. And being the good Asian daughter, I listened to mom and dad, over God. I keep saying, how could I have done that? But the fear of my mom. And I said, okay, well, what's plan B for me? And, I was in my late 20s, like, okay, well, maybe I should get married, and met someone. And he was a good man, really was. Also very dedicated to faith and the church. But there's certain factors in our marriage that caused it to fall apart. And I just want to share a few. My daughter, when she was born, she was sickly, but not like a condition. She constantly had ear infections, asthma. I was up every night checking asthma, counting breaths. And then I developed an anxiety disorder because she was always sick, high fevers. We were either going to the ER, So, waking up in the middle of the night, and I was more, let's go. And he's more, just observe, let's see what happens. And then there would be friction because I go, what are you going to do? Make her die? Just that was where my anxiety was. So that was the factor that brought us apart. Not that Joanna brought us apart, but just constant illness that we dealt with for 7 years, that I dealt with till she was about 7 years old. And then the hardest factor in my marriage falling apart, my parents didn't really accept my ex-husband. And, said, oh, it'll get better. I'm dating, get married, it'll get better. It got worse when my daughter came around because my dad, being the grandpa now, but he thought he had all authority and would step over our feet. And then they always were over because they wanted to see the granddaughter, right? And she was the only grandchild. So that caused a lot. They were very just say didn't treat him very well and didn't make him feel like he was part of the family. So he just told me, I'm done with this. I'm
Mm,
leaving.
yeah. Oh gosh. So hard. Yeah. I mean, families. I I can share. From my. I think every family kind of goes through that. In-laws. It can be tough.
Yeah.
Um, Different personalities, and um,
Right.
it's just not. It's not easy. Right.
And I didn't know how to support my husband, and I knew I had to do that.
Mm,
But being, again, back to my Asian roots,
mm,
how do I keep my respect for my mom and dad? And then how do I keep my marriage alive?
yeah.
Is it definitely, I could feel it going down, but I kept thinking, no, we'll get through it. I never thought, I knew I wouldn't leave, I'd work it through. But
Mhm.
when somebody tells you I'm leaving and they don't want to go to counseling and they just leave you, where do you go? I just got a lawyer and protected my daughter.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you for sharing that struggle. So you said, well, where do I go? So you went you went with the lawyer, but how about spiritually? I mean, what was your faith telling you? What did you was it I'm sure it was a dark moment. Were you active in your faith at that point? Did you lean on your faith? Were you did you become mad at God at all? What happened there?
All of those, Father Mario. So, really, all of those kind of blend in together
Hmm.
depending on the day and my emotion or my daughter's emotion.
Hmm.
There was a lot of, at first I was numb. I just was trying, okay, what I really wasn't thinking. Okay, we're going to go out, we're driving you to school, that kind of stuff. And then little prayers, my prayers wasn't just, I'm going to stay here and pray to God this next 15 minutes. It was more like, Jesus, get me through this moment or get me through this day.
Yeah.
Or at the end, thank you so much for seeing the safety of today.
Hmm.
My daughter I had her go to counseling by choice. Not that she really understood why dad left, but I had her going to counseling and I prayed for that. And that was a blessing. I think I was subconsciously praying all the time. But when you're caught in something so deep and hurtful and your reality has changed,
Yeah.
that wasn't my forefront. I'm saying, I'm handing it to God right now. I
Hmm.
think it just was in my mind and I did what I needed to do. And I think God guided me in all those positive decisions that I had to make. Because definitely would not have been, if I was conscious of it, it wouldn't be me. I mean, it really was God carrying me through that.
Yeah. There's a story about that, right? Being carried.
Like I think the poem "Footprints in the Sand."
Yeah.
Hmm.
And when they see the two sets of footprints, and then you see the one set,
Right.
right? And then
Definitely, definitely. And then, like I keep going back, we had our church community and our school community, which we had daily.
hmm.
That was a constant. And she was happy playing. She was, she had classmates. She saw them at church. And I got to see the same group of parents.
Hmm.
And I did have as difficult it was to have my mom and dad with the aspect of my marriage, but they were there for my daughter. They drove her to school so that I could go to work.
Hmm.
I had that type of help.
Yeah.
I did take my daughter to church and make sure, we always talked. Like she was born October 4th, and we always talked about St. Francis of Assisi.
Hmm.
We always talked with each other.
Hmm.
She grew up knowing about her prayers and God. Okay, hand it to God.
Hmm.
We just did, and it wasn't always. We'd say our fathers, but it was really that communication and knowing that we can turn to God. She knew she can turn to God. I know I could turn to God, but there
Yeah.
definitely was some anger.
Yeah.
Times where I couldn't even go to church. No, I'm not going to Sunday mass. Other things, went through that also.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like you found support from individuals and at times from in your own prayer, but the church itself and the church's teaching on marriage. that can be difficult for people
Mhm.
to find themselves in this, in the circumstances like yours, and can feel like they're abandoned by the
Mhm.
church. Did you feel that at all?
I'm sorry, what was it again?
Did
Did
you
I
feel
feel?
that at all? Like you found support from individuals and at times in your own prayer, but sometimes the church, what the church says about these situations can sometimes feel like it cuts a little deep.
Mhm.
Did you feel like the church as a structure, as a organization, kind of was supporting you, or maybe you felt a little bit kind of isolated or pushed aside, relegated, or anything like that?
Right, a little bit of both. I say that because I go, oh, I'm divorced. I'm Catholic. I still had that old, I don't know if it's old school, but I'm not supposed to get divorced.
Mm.
I'm supposed to work this out. Marriage is for life, right?
Uh-huh.
Um, but it's also our priests and just being able to go to the church and have that community that helped. Father Rich was one of our priests at the time. And then, so he gave my daughters the sacraments. I talked to him a few times. Very friendly, very open. Somebody who could really feel the hurt
Yeah.
of the parishioners, the pain that they're going through, and just knowing that we had those people that we can go to. That this is my parish. These people make a difference to me, and it's right here in my fingertips. That was also a support to move forward.
Well, I think it's a something that the parish and parishioners and Catholics all over need to kind of wake up to. And Pope Francis has been speaking about this. And one of his favorite images, or one of the favorite images that people um, draw from him, is this idea that the church is a field hospital. That in the midst of a battle, you have the field hospital set up, and that is for the big wounds
Mm-hmm.
that you gotta triage. Some people are going through that, and that's the church's mission.
Right.
And then you can deal with the nicks and the bruises and the cuts down the line, but you got to stop the bleeding.
Mm-hmm.
And we have the sacraments for that, but we have each other.
Right. Definitely. It was. It's been a good play. I mean, for somebody who had to go through a hardship,
Yeah.
um, it's good that we had it all encompassed.
Yeah.
You know.
So if you were to talk to some people who are preparing for this vocation, do you have any advice for them?
You mean the single parent
Yeah,
vocation?
let's say married life first, and then let's say the single parents. Yeah, let's say,
Mhm.
yeah.
The one thing I learned after in my marriage, the reason my marriage, I didn't have a strong foundation. And it isn't just, oh, I'm in love with this person or I can see myself being with this person. But
Mhm.
what are you willing to uphold for each other? Meaning, how do you uplift each other and help each other through your own personal struggles? I
Mhm.
think because my daughter was always sick, that was my one focus. So
Mhm.
everything else fell apart. Instead of keeping the family unit, it
Mhm.
became like you said, triage. Like our house is like, oh, is Joanna sick today? Or, what are we doing today? And then I became scared of everything. So we weren't helping each other feel healthy or feel good. So really would say you've got to nourish that
Mhm.
marriage from the beginning, and to go to counseling, not because you need to go to counseling, but to go to counseling or some sort of support group to keep your marriage strong.
Yeah.
Like don't wait for an issue before you try to bandage it up, because for some people it might be too late.
Yeah.
I know for me, what I had wished, that I took more chances of going to couples retreats. I love retreats, and I think we don't get away enough. And I don't just mean like a hike or a nature retreat. I really mean like a spiritual retreat,
Yeah.
because the couple has to grow. That's kind of one of the first things that disappears when you get so busy is your spiritual life. Because we'll say, oh, God's there, I'll go next Sunday, right? Or we'll pray tomorrow. But it's something, if you don't grasp it or nurture it, we'll lose the strength that it upholds for us.
Yeah.
So I would really say go on maybe on your anniversary of year or every other year, pick a special day and go on those couple retreats, and even just alone. I think my ex-husband had hoped to, he wanted to go on some alone retreats just for men.
Yeah.
Get
I
away.
think that's another good thing that you're pointing me to, right? Nourishing the vocation of the men in the parish to be brave, to be courageous,
Right.
to fight for their families. But like you said, having those people to lean on when things are good. I mean, even myself, I go to spiritual direction, which is kind of like counseling. It's with a priest. He can hear my confession once a month, so I go there. I need that outlet. So that's a great piece of advice for couples to have somebody that you trust, that you can speak to, because you're not supposed to know it all right away. So yeah. So how about for single parents, people who find themselves in this situation, maybe suddenly, like you did?
Right. There's a quote I want to share, and this is what kept me on path. And I remember reading it. I don't know if it was Chicken Soup for the Soul book or at Reader's Digest, but I remember a mom reflecting, and she said, if I can send my children to the best schools. I can pay the tuition, so that they can have everything. Ivy League schools, extracurricular activities. I can teach them manners, and they look like they're good, wholesome citizens of the community. And then she said, but if I don't teach my child in faith, if I don't teach them the faith, then I have failed at everything else. Not failed in that you didn't try, but we didn't keep the most important value intact. So when I became a single mom, I remember that, and I said, okay, step one would be, I'm responsible for my one child, nobody else. It's just me. My ex-husband had moved to another state, and so I made sure it was pretty healthy. We talked a lot. We did extracurricular activities, and I listened to her passion, which for my child was singing, acting, dancing, all the arts, right? So every summer camp, every holiday, we just did all that throughout. And get us involved. I was a room parent. That's our children seeing, my daughter seeing me model to be my mom's helping out in my classroom, or she's on the field trip, and bringing that extra lunch for someone else. And as they get older into their preteen and teens, what do we volunteer as? How do we treat people? Because as a single parent, you may not have other people around you. So you're the only person that your child, might have to see values in life that we hope they will carry on. And my daughter, as she got older, she helped Adam Chaffee with confirmation herself because I was working, and then I took a step back so she could work. And she sensed it. She sensed the things we were involved in.
Yeah. So really commit yourself to that time with your child.
And I don't regret it. We're close now. We talk. We have our issues because I'm more traditional Filipino, whereas she's more, well, Mom, I think this, and I'm like, okay. She's more, she can voice her feelings, which I'm thankful for. I'd rather she voice it than not voice it.
I think most parents are hearing that a lot. Well, Mom, we so, but you've made it through.
Yeah, college graduation was a milestone. Yeah, we did it. And that really is, we did it because we didn't get child support. a teacher on a teacher's salary and I still have my home, I try to explain to people I have the same bills you all pay, but I only have one income.
Mm.
So, but we did. And she was always the priority. What do you need? And then now she tells me now, she goes, Mom, thank you.
Yeah.
I see how much you've done for me. I see how much you've helped me. And that's the gift back. Just to hear them say thank you. Yeah. She actually, my daughter, one thing from kids out there, she gives me a Mother's Day card and a Father's Day card.
Oh. Yeah. Wow. You've been both.
Yeah. The funny thing about it is mom and dad. So she called it, she goes, Happy Damn Day. And I go, what are you giving me Happy Damn Day? She goes, well, if I spell it the other way, it's Happy Mad Day.
Dad and mom, yeah.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. You've been both. And well, thank you, Leslie. I mean, this was really an important talk for a lot of people to hear, and me especially. So thank you for opening up that really intimate part of your life that can be really tough to share. So, but we're here for you, and we thank you so much for your dedication to our parish and for the example that you've given us in raising a child as a single mom. The bravery and the courage and the perseverance that has taken is a sign to us. We just have to keep going, right. Just grind.
And that really is what it is. If you were to ask me, how did you get through it? I said, I don't know. And that's why footprints in the sand. I have no explanation for it.
Except that God
carried alive every day.
They said in the footprints, there's the two sets of footprints where we walk together with God. The one set where he carried us, and then the two lines in the sand where he dragged us when we were kicking and screaming. Yeah.
I saw that one too.
Sometimes we got to do that, but he can take it. So we just keep leaning on him and know that he won't give us a cross that's too heavy for us to carry. I have said this before. If he's given you something that seems overly burdensome, it's because he knows you're really, really strong. Thank you for being here with us tonight. And now we're gonna try to pray the Station of the Cross. And the teens are here; they're ready to go, and they're gonna lead us. You help with teen confirmation, and so Kimberly is gonna help them. They're gonna lead us tonight, and we just are gonna unite our crosses, whatever we're going through in our own lives. We know we're all struggling with something. We come together tonight to pray the stations, to boost each other up, to bolster each other, and to know that we're here together, helping each other to carry our crosses. So thanks, Leslie. I'm going to turn it over to Kimberly now, and I'm going to sign off until the end. Okay.
Thank you so much, Father Mario. Thank you so much, Ms. Garcia, for sharing with us.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Just want to invite all the teens, if you wouldn't mind turning your cameras on, that would be wonderful. And we'll get started in just a second. I'll do a screen share. And for all of you that are listening, maybe each of you could just share your name, and then we'll go ahead and get started. Joy, could we start with you?
Hi, my name is Joy Chang.
And Charlie?
I am Charlie Cunningham.
Go ahead, Anthony.
Hi, I'm Anthony.
And Lexi.
Hi, I'm Lexi Robin.
And Finn.
Hi, I'm Finn.
Thanks, everyone. I guess I gave a clue as we got started. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and we're going to begin with Anthony starting the first stations of the cross. So here comes the screen share. Go ahead, Anthony.
First station. Jesus is condemned by Pontius Pilate.
We adore you, O Christ, and we bless you, because by your holy cross you have redeemed the world.
Every day in our world, people are condemned. We hear about it on the evening news. Every time someone is rejected for being Black or Asian, Hispanic or Jewish, every time an old person has to huddle on a street corner to keep warm or search in a garbage can for food, every time a handicapped person is made to feel unwelcome, someone is being condemned. You see it at school too. There are kids who are constantly the butt of jokes. They look funny or talk funny, and they don't know how to dress. They just don't fit in. Jesus was one of those who didn't fit in. He did and said things that upset the people with the power. The religious leaders wanted him out of the way, and Pilate the judge went along with them. Jesus was condemned to die on a cross. Jesus, forgive us for the times we have condemned you and others through our silence and indifference. Help us to love and welcome all others as you did. Teach us how to follow you. Second station, Jesus takes up the cross.
We adore you, O Christ, and we bless you, because by your holy cross you have redeemed the world.
All around us, people are carrying heavy burdens. Some of these burdens we know about, like the ones our parents carry, but we ignore them. Some burdens we don't know about, like the ones carried by teachers or other kids in our classes, but we don't really care. Others we hear about on the news, like war, hunger, poverty, and injustice, but we can't be bothered with what goes on elsewhere in the world. We allow ourselves to be deaf and blind to the pain of others. It is easier that way. We have enough to do just taking care of ourselves. Jesus was forced to carry the burden of the cross. Surely there were those in the crowd who knew about him. They saw the soldiers drop the cross on his shoulders, but they were worried about themselves. They didn't protest the rough treatment he received. They didn't come forward. Jesus, forgive us for the times we have walked away from the burdens of others. Help us not to be deaf and blind to their pain. Teach us how to follow you. Third station, Jesus falls the first time.
We adore you, O Christ, and we bless you, because by your holy cross you have redeemed the world.
The worst thing that can happen to us is to fall flat on our faces in front of others. When we do or say something stupid, when we're not accepted for who we are, when we're laughed at for not looking right or dressing right. To be shut out is the worst way to fall flat. At school games or dances, we know there are kids who are on the outside looking in, but we don't invite them in. What would our friends think? Jesus fell flat in front of the soldiers, in front of people who had believed in him, in front of his own mother. He was in this situation because he had spoken out and taken risks for others. Look where it got him. What must he have been thinking as he lost control and fell under the cross? Jesus, forgive us for the times we have shut others out and refused to help. Help us to be aware of their needs. Teach us how to follow you.
Fourth station, Jesus meets his mother.
We adore you, O Christ, and we bless you, because by your holy cross you have redeemed the world.
Parents expect so much of us. They want us to succeed. They want us to believe that we can get good grades, that everyone will like us, that we will never cheat, lie, or steal, that we will always choose what is right. And we want our parents to think the best of us. We don't want them to know about some of the things we do. Mary wanted Jesus to succeed. She wanted people to accept him, to believe him, to love him. But here she meets him, and he is carrying a criminal's cross. Did she think that he was guilty, that he was a failure, or did she love and support him? Jesus, forgive us for the times we have resented our parents. Help us be grateful for their love and support. Teach us how to follow you. Fifth station. Simon of Cyrene is made to carry the cross.
We adore you, O Christ, and we bless you, because by your holy cross you have redeemed the world.
Sometimes a teacher makes us sit next to an outsider, or makes us help someone we wouldn't be caught dead with. We don't stop to think about what other person's feelings. We only care about how we feel. How does this look to our friends? What if they think we choose this situation? Poor Simon. Why was he, a foreigner, chose to help this criminal carry his cross? Would people think that he was a criminal too? He probably embarrassed and humiliated to be forced into this situation. Was there even a moment where he got his own discomfort and looked with compassion at Jesus? Jesus, forgive us for the times we have hurt others by not caring how they feel. Show us to act with love and compassion. Teach us how to follow you. Sixth station, Jesus meets Veronica.
We adore you, O Christ, and we bless you, because by your holy cross you have redeemed the world.
There are people who sometimes actually buck the crowd. When everyone else is drinking or doing drugs or telling crude jokes or tearing someone down, this person speaks up. Hey, this isn't right. This isn't good. I refuse to go along. And everyone laughs. Veronica bucked the crowd. Her sympathy overcame her fear, and she came forward to wipe the blood and sweat off of Jesus' face. She didn't stop to think about the consequences to measure her own needs. At that moment, she thought about only the needs of Jesus. Jesus, forgive us for the times we have laughed at people who bucked the crowd. Help us to learn to accept the truth about ourselves and the things we do. Teach us how to follow you.
Seventh station. Jesus falls a second time.
We adore you, O Christ, and we bless you, because by your holy cross you have redeemed the world.
Failure is a terrible thing. None of us wants to be a failure, especially in the eyes of our friends. Parents and teachers might think of us as failures, but when friends do, it's too much. All day, we are concerned about what our friends will think, and we work hard to look good in their eyes. But sometimes they fail us. They don't stand by us when we need them, in spite of all our efforts to please them. When Jesus fell again, what were his concerns? Was he worried about how his friends were taking this? And where were his friends? Why didn't even one of them step forward on his behalf? Was he angry or hurt? What was he thinking as he plunged to the ground for the second time? Jesus, forgive us for the times we failed to be there for our friends when they needed us. Help us to be as caring as you always are for us. Teach us how to follow you. Eighth station. Jesus meets the woman of Jerusalem.
We adore you, O Christ, and we bless you, because by your holy cross you have redeemed the world.
Sometimes a crowd mentally takes over at school, on the bus, or at dances or parties. Things we would never do on our own seem okay when everyone else is doing them. We tend to cheer louder and crazier, dance harder and wilder, and even gain up more on losers when we're in a crowd. The woman in the crowd who wept for Jesus were crying because the situation called for tears. The crowd was stirred up and noisy. Frightening things were going on. The women were too curious to leave, but too afraid to keep quiet, and so they cried. As Jesus passes by, he heard them. He told them to stop the phony crying and to weep instead for the evil being done. He was asking them to follow their own hearts, not the crowd. Jesus, forgive us for the times we've gone along with the crowd without accepting responsibility for what we do. Help us to get in touch with what we really think and feel. Teach us how to follow you. Ninth station. Jesus falls a third time.
We adore you, O Christ, and we bless you, because by your holy cross you have redeemed the world.
To be made fun of once is bad enough. To have it happen again and again is agony. Yet there are people in our school, on our bus, in our neighborhood, who are made fun of all the time, and we do it to them too. They don't fit in, they don't belong, so it's okay. Everyone does it, everyone knows how different they are. They fall down in front of us over and over, and we just knock them down again. Jesus fell 3 times with the cross on his shoulders. All those people watching, what were they thinking? He had helped so many of them, but not one of them had the courage to come forward. Were they frightened of the soldiers and the angry crowd? Or was it simply that Jesus was no longer one of them, and so they let him fall? Jesus, forgive us for the times we make fun of others. Give us the courage to lift them up when they fall, even if they don't fit in. Teach us how to follow you.
Tenth station. Jesus is stripped of his garments.
We adore you, O Christ, and we bless you, because by your holy cross you have redeemed the world.
Clothes are a big part of our lives. The right clothes cost a lot, sometimes more than we or our parents can afford, but we insist on having them. We want to look right. We have to be dressed like everyone else. There are people who know don't dress right, and we know what happens to them. Without the right clothes, they're nothing. Jesus was stripped of his clothing in front of the whole crowd of people. He stood there without comfort and security of his clothes. He was stripped of his dignity like a criminal. Without his clothes, how must he have felt? Jesus, forgive us for the times we have cared more about good clothes than for good people. Help us never value designer labels more than the needs of others. Teach us how to follow you. 11th station. Jesus is nailed to the cross.
We adore you, O Christ, and we bless you, because by your holy cross you have redeemed the world.
At times, we do things that are ugly and wrong. We say hateful things about each other. Black people, white people, poor people, Hispanic people, Asian people. We call them names because they're different and because we've decided we're better. We join others who laugh at them. Deep in our hearts, we know this is wrong, but we all go along with it anyway. Jesus was the victim of anger and jealousy. He had stirred up the people. He had said and done different things. He had accepted all people equally, as they were. Now he was paying the price. There must have been those in the crowd who knew he was innocent, but they went along with the way things were. They stood by and let Jesus be nailed to the cross. Jesus, forgive us for the times we have nailed others to cross because they were different. Show us how to love and value people as you did. Teach us how to follow you. 12th station. Jesus dies on the cross.
We adore you, O Christ, and we bless you, because by your holy cross you have redeemed the world.
We all think about dying from time to time. It's a thought that comes to us when some things go wrong. When a boyfriend or girlfriend rejects us, when our grades are slipping, or when we're drinking or smoking too much and it can't seem to stop, or when parents are disappointed in everything we do. We're tempted to believe that death is easier than facing our problems. Is this what Jesus was feeling when he died? Was he hoping to get it over with? Always worried? Was he worried about his friends, his mother, his followers? Was he angry at God and at life? What did he mean when he said, "Forgive them, they don't know what they're doing"? Was he really so unselfish that he could pray for those who hurt him? Jesus, forgive us for the times we have quit too easily because we're only thinking of ourselves. Share with us the kind of unselfish courage you had. Teach us how to follow you.
13th station. Jesus is taken down from the cross. We adore you, O Christ, and we bless you, because by your holy cross you have redeemed the world. Sometimes we clearly recognize a lost cause, a school team that never wins, a band that can't make good music, a friendship completely broken. We don't want to be a part of a lost cause, but often we are. We're on that losing team, or in that band, or part of that broken relationship. What then? Joseph of Arimathea, a secret follower of Jesus who was afraid of the leaders, finally came forward after Jesus had died. He claimed the body of this criminal. What made him do it? Wasn't he still afraid of being identified with the lost cause? No doubt he was ashamed for waiting so long, but at least he did something good and courageous in the end. Jesus, forgive us for the times we walk away from painful situations and from the people in them. Give us the courage to act on our beliefs, no matter how afraid we feel. Teach us how to follow you. 14th station. Jesus is buried. We adore you, O Christ, and we bless you, because by your holy cross you have redeemed the world. When we work hard at something, we expect to be rewarded. A good grade, praise from our parents, cheers from the fans. We certainly don't want to be blamed or punished for doing our best. It happens sometimes, though, to people we know, and we walk away from them. We don't want to hang out with losers. Jesus spent his public life preaching, healing, and helping others. He promised good things to those who followed him. But here he was, dead from crucifixion, and apparently good things had not happened to him or to those who had believed in him. At this moment of sorrow and failure, his followers had abandoned him, and he was buried in another man's grave. Jesus, forgive us for the times we have measured our success by the applause and praise of others. Help us learn to look beneath the surface of things with the eyes of faith. Teach us how to follow you.
Wow. Thank you all for this very, very special reading of the Stations of the Cross. It really touched my heart. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you guys. It was a different kind of stations than the ones we've been praying. There were a lot of stations that talked about our own suffering, but this one really brought out that there are some times when we can be contributing to the crosses of other people. And so during Lent, Jesus calls us to repent of those things and say, hey, there's still time to change. And when you reach out to those people, as the station said, those losers, you actually are the one who gains. And so they were great, powerful, profound. So thank you for giving those to our community. And God bless you all in your journey to confirmation. Are you all in first year? Second year? Some mix? Good. Well, we look forward to celebrating that sacrament with you. We're going to keep you in our prayers. As you said, Jesus, help us to follow you, to learn to follow you. That's what we're all doing together. So God bless you. And thank you all for joining us tonight. Thank you, Miss Kimberly and Miss Garcia. Thank you for sharing your story and for giving us all strength just to keep persevering and to let God carry us through these dark times. God bless you. Have a wonderful rest of your week, and Palm Sunday this weekend. Jesus' triumphant entry into Jerusalem, going to the cross. So have a wonderful evening. God bless you.
Thank you, Father Mario, for giving our teens the opportunity.
Of course.
Thank you.
They
Thank
say
you, teens.
some people say the teens, the young people, are the future of the church. No, you guys are the present, not the future. You're the present.